Why are these kids running like that? Weapons comes from Zach Cregger and is shocking. 96% on the tomato meter, 90% by the audience. Weapons tells the tale of this class that goes missing in the middle of the night. All of the kids in this one particular class at 2:17 in the morning all run away with their arms open, and it's kind of a mystery. Well, why are these kids doing this? Where are they going? Didn't anybody see them? Well, the door cameras caught them. It's very eerie. And it's a shocking premise that plays out in a perspective where you get to see it from different points of view. You see it from, well, obviously the teacher's point of view, but then you see it from the parents' point of view, the principal's point of view, and then, yes, you finally see it from the kid's point of view as to figuring out where are these kids going? And if this premise hooked you, then this movie will hook you when you go and see it. Now, know this, the movie is a touch long. It comes in at just over 2 hours, and it's from Zach Cregger, who directed that movie Barbarian. Remember that movie where they had that weird mutated woman underneath the ground in those tunnels? Oi! So if you like that, then I think this movie will also be right up your alley. Hey, the tomato meter score is 96%, 90 by the audience. I think overall, a lot of people like this film. Now, I enjoyed it as well, but it was one of those movies where I came into the theater saying, okay, it had a lot of really good things, but I don't know if I love this movie. I have to sit with this a bit. I have to digest it. So it didn't have that emotional impact where it's like, guys, you gotta check this out. Because there are answers. There are clear answers as to where did these kids go and what happened to them. And it's gonna work for some people. But it's also kind of be like, well, really? Really? Because it made me think of this Arthur Conan Doyle quote from Sherlock Holmes. When you have eliminated all which is impossible, then whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. And there is some logic in here where you have to suspend your disbelief of, really? The cops didn't suspect this at all? I mean, there's only one kid here that has somehow not run away. You really want us to believe that the cops are not investigating all of this? And it's kind of like, okay, we have to buy into that. And as I said, it's going to work brilliantly for some people. But if you are diligent in your story diagnosis, then it does have some silliness towards the end where it's like, guys, no. The cops would have been all over this place. Whatever happens in the end, right? There's no way. And they try to explain why the cops weren't all over this place. And as I said, it's going to work for some people. The majority of the film works. The acting in this is top tier. Josh Brolin is fantastic. The teacher, played by Julia Garner, is fantastic. Alden Ehrenreich is also in the film. He's a good actor, but he had no business playing Han Solo. But I digress. Let's go over to my score sheet here and start filling out some numbers for weapons. Acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points each. Cinematography and score are out of 1 point. Acting, guys, as I said, Julia Garner here, Josh Brolin are absolutely fantastic together. There's like an ensemble piece in here. The guy who played Wong is also great as the principal. Directing. Now, all of the technical aspects in here are good. They're really good. The story has a fantastic premise, but it does have some flaws in here. As I said towards the end, I felt like this could have easily gone off the rails, and it almost did. It really almost did. And especially with that quote I was talking about the Arthur Conan Doyle quote, because that was just ringing in the back of my head. Like, seriously? Nobody ever thought about this? Seriously? They want us just to go along with that. And as I said, most people will go along with it because it's James. It's just a horror movie. You don't have to take it that seriously. Well, guys, we're sitting at 5.5 right now, and I haven't even done the cinematography and score. So it's going to be a good review. Cinematography. It had a darkness to it in the beginning. Like, they shot a lot of it at dark, and it had a grain to it. I appreciated that grain because it's not fluffed up by some high-end digital camera that gets everything crisp and it's like an unrealistic dark. Now this was a real dark because you could see like the grain in the footage and stuff like that, and that worked for me. It helped build the atmosphere and tone, because as these kids run away in the night, it's kind of like it helps sell that mystic kind of like, what's going on, right? Score, typical soundtrack, I guess, for a horror movie. Dun, 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 and it'll work for some. It's not a soundtrack that I wanted to go out and immediately buy. So we're sitting at 6 out of 10 right now for weapons. Let's go back to the tomato meter and look a little bit at the critics' scores, the critics' reviews, the snapshot reviews, and see if we agree with any. Financial Times. And when it works, the movie is really a kick. The dread mystery at its heart looms over a vivid everyday filled with liquor stores and pin-sharp dialogue. Yeah, the dialogue's sharp. The dialogue helps us a lot. Toronto Star has a multiple perspective narrative, well, I said that as well, and perverse plot dynamics reminiscent of Barbarian, but it's a huge leap in storytelling. It's also one of the year's best horror movies. So is it? I think it is. I think it is because it's that whole premise alone. Where did these kids go? What happened? And yeah, that's worth the hook in itself. Let's go over to some other top critics here. Somebody who didn't like it, William Bibiani from The Wrap. What Cregger's getting at seems a lot less frightening and a lot more contrived. Really? Possible. Then it would have been. Had he not invited us to ponder more powerful possibilities over an hour before tipping his hand. Yeah, guys, this movie is a slow burn. This movie takes time to get into it. And I have to admit, I myself felt this in the first, like it takes an hour to get into what this movie's mostly about. And while we know what the premise is based on the trailers and in the first 20 minutes, that all kind of plays out, it does linger a bit to set up these characters. So you have to know that going in, I feel. Otherwise, if you want it to be bang, 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 then it's not going to be like that for you. And that's why I kind of had to pause the score there for the story, because I don't know if it's going to work for everybody. I don't even know if it totally worked for me, because I'm a harsh critic when it comes to how stories pacing plays out. Doug Walker, Channel Awesome. Scary, funny, suspenseful, mysterious, and unpredictable. We're in a great age of horror films, and I feel like we are. We've had a good year for horror. Sinners, a lot of blood, Final Destination, Bloodlines, Grace Randolph. Deeply disturbing, but intentionally so, with some striking visuals and clever storytelling. Yeah, and that goes back to my thing about cinematography, right? Weapons will haunt you. I don't know. It's not like, if you want to ask me if it's a scary film, is this movie going to keep me up at night thinking about some of the imagery going on in this film? It's not. This is not a movie where you're going to be like, oh, I'm so scared of this. Like Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers. It's got this one scene in here with Wong. It's like, what's going on with his eyes? There's something really crazy. Is he a zombie? I don't know, right? Something really bizarre is happening, and it's all explained. But you have to be willing to take that leap of faith. Let's go to my top critic here, my go-to person in horror, because she's so fantastic in this realm. Perry Nemiroff. Zach Cregger's direction is staggeringly assured, and that's a big reason why this storytelling structure plays so fluidly, and why he's able to land such an ambitious concept. Undoubtedly a favorite ending of 2025, if not of all time. Really, that's a high praise from somebody who likes horror, Perry Nemiroff. Best ending of the year? No. Best horror of the year? Nah, guys, Sinners is still up there. Final Destination is also really up there, but this is in that pantheon for sure. It's got that extra level going for it, where it's like you're seeing it from different points of view, which is also really intriguing in itself. Because if you saw Haunting of Hill House, the series, right? Mike Flanagan's series, where you saw this story play out from different angles. It's sort of like that, but for a movie, right? What are the parents doing to find their kids? What is the teacher doing about the lost kids? And as I said, some of it will work for people, but some of it won't. I'll tell you straight up, the teacher character you want to sympathize with, but they wrote her in such a way that you probably won't like her. And I found myself like that in the first hour because they're establishing the characters. This is not a really likable person. But by the end of it, you're just so invested in trying to find these kids and what's going on that you're like, okay, I forgive that. I see reasons why this all unfolded in the way that it did. So, with that being said, let's wrap up my score sheet for Weapons, and we'll get us out of here. Watchability factors out of a possible 2 points, and if you watch the trailers for this and you found that premise intriguing, I would say go out and check it out. If you are a fan of filmmaking, if you're a fan of acting, if you like abstract stories that play out in oddball ways, I would say check out this movie. 7.5 for Weapons. It's a bit low for some, because we saw from the tomato meter that people were really touting this as one of the best of the year. Really touting this as one of the best of the year. And I don't know if I can do that, because you've got Presence, Hard Eyes, people like The Monkey for some reason, Sinners, Clown in a Cornfield. Clown in a Cornfield was so smart. Yeah. You got to think, yeah, this is probably a little bit better. It's definitely a lot better than Bring Her Back. And I don't know if actually, compared to Until Dawn, it's almost in that same wheelhouse of weird things going on that you have to try to explain. But overall, I think the crowd will like this movie. And what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. This is one of those movies that we need to talk about in the comments section, because it'll be like, did it work for you or didn't it? And if it didn't, I want to know why. I told you my reasons why some parts of it didn't. But overall, I think I liked it. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10, borderline an 8 out of 10 for Weapons. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. You're watching Mirror Domains.